Go your mama. All right, everyone. Your host, Cy Smith, coming to you on a Friday. I'm recording, so I will later be able to make sure that this is on YouTube. I'm streaming live on YouTube. This video here is to kind of give an update about just where we going as a people and how excited I am. I'm almost want to declare that we've made it. That's how I feel on the inside. But the bottom line is this: if you guys didn't catch some of my earlier communications, we've secured the $5,000 in commitment that we need to operate. We're coming up on the 1 year mark of the 5,000 we had last year before COVID really took out the game plan for last year. And so to have back-to-back years of upfront money gives me great confidence in where we're headed. Only three times in our history, 26-year history, have we had money going forward and not every month chasing from behind. So, pardon me if I seem excited, but this is good for us. So, I'm gonna talk about the guy who put the money forward because I've never met him, and for this guy to entrust me and ultimately us with this money says a lot about the confidence a stranger can have in our system and our structure and then the people that they've been able to interact with. So kudos to this brother. His name is Chip, coming out of the East Coast, and he has a book that he ultimately wanted to call the Historical News Journals, but for now it's the African American News Journals because he captured 178 pages, years of history on contributions and what was happening to Black people. And this isn't a regular book. A regular book has paragraphs. This is actual articles, headline articles that was written in papers back in the day, going back to 1798. So it's something that's a quick read. It's a good read. It allows you to see what was being said back in the 1700s, the 1800s, and even now in the 1900s. And it's something that I think is going to help us, as President Biden says, we can't heal if we don't remember. This book is awesome for us to remember. And the fact that he's giving 50% of sales as a way for us to raise money, I'm grateful for that. And I see a bright future ahead as we convince our people that buying books in conjunction with everything else that we're doing is going to allow us to make neighborhoods stronger, safer, more vibrant, give purpose to our men, change the whole culture. If we were doing this already, now that you've given us this additional resource, it's lights out to me. I spoke last year about the goals of 2021, which involved getting public housing people involved. It involved getting colleges involved, and it involved getting the conventions up and running. So we are on track already with just the second month of the year for all those things. So let me first backtrack and tell you guys what change and victory looks like. I was in Miami over the weekend, 82 degrees. I was in Chicago 2 days ago, 7 degrees. That's a big difference. While I was in Chicago, I was only there for less than 20 hours. My mission was to make sure that I had our people holding up this book that is going to fund a good part of our going forward. So Art Cheston of Elite Dental on 117th and Western, he's going to be a distributor of the book. We're going to get and ask businesses that have physical storefronts to become distributors of these books so that we can raise this money to turn every zip code around. So that's kind of why I was there for a short period of time. I took pictures in front of the most critical street corners in multiple zip codes. That is important, and that's what I want to spend some time talking about, these street corners. But I want to step back and paint the big picture, and hopefully you will order this book yourself at the end of this video. You'll be moved and you'll order this book so that we can start to see this revenue come in. So let's step back now and let's look at Black people and where we at and where we're on our way to. So this year, I felt like we were already going to make it. And the reason I felt like that is because from as the chief executive who handles all the administration, who talks to every neighborhood all over the country, what I was hearing was people, some in a state of frustration where they knew what they were doing, what they were a part of, was just a part of what needs to happen. And I've been hearing on the other side people who were on the sidelines because they got tired of going to meetings, doing things. They just said, I'm just doing me. So listening to that, now with the system that we've built and structured and developed, it allows those people to get back into the game who were sitting on the sidelines disappointed, and it allows those people who are frustrated with meeting after meeting and not seeing progress to now plug in. Make no mistake, Black people, what we're up against is too big for any one organization. Let me say that again. What Black people is up against is too big for any one structure, any organization. And when people hear me say that, they say, well, what about you, Shai? What you trying to say? That you're it? I try to stay away from the organization name. You rarely hear me talk about National Block Club University. What you hear me talk about is process. What you hear me talk about is structure. What you hear me talk about is path forward, the way forward. You don't hear me talking about the organization because I recognize that it's bigger than an organization. We are up against 6 things at all times: 3 internal, 3 external. You've heard me say it over and over and over again. And the way we're going to fix it, the way we're going to press forward is by being structured a certain way and by making sure that we have a system. So that way we are not dependent on no one leader, no one organization. And that's not to take away from organizations who's doing wonderful work, who's having impact. But the question is, do we want to just have impact, or do we want to change our whole way of life and conditions? We have that platform to change the whole way we've been operating. And when I say change it for the better, not the worse. So let me get into what this looks like. First and foremost, if you're writing down something, write down these 4 things. And some of you guys who don't know me well will be shocked to hear me say this, but I want you to write these 4 things that must happen in order for something to get done. The children know I always talk about, in order for a fire to take place, you need heat, oxygen, and fuel all at the same time. Take one of them away, the fire goes out. Heat, oxygen, fuel, HOF. That's for a fire to take place. Well, for most other things, you need these 4 things to take place in order to get something done. You're going to be shocked to hear me say this, but to have sex, 4 things must take place. Did you catch that? To have sex, 4 things must be present. The first thing is you need to have a man or a woman. You need to have 2 people. All right. That is the part. All right. The tool is the next thing that must be present. And the tool is either the private part of these 2 people. The private parts need to be there and functional. All right. That's the tool. So you got the part, which is the people. You got the private part, which is the tool. Then you need to have the skill. What good is 2 people with the tools, but they don't know what to do? All right, so they got to know, somebody got to know what to do. You need to have the knowledge. And the 4th thing is they have to have time. If one is at work, one isn't available, you can't, the mission is not going to take place. I say that to really get your attention, because I normally don't talk about sex like that, but I wanted to get that. Let me give you another example. If you're going to cook steak tonight for dinner, 4 things got to be present. You need the steak, that's the part or the supply. You need the stove that with gas on or electric so it can heat up. That's the tool. You need the skill. You need to know how to cook steak, and then you need to have time to cook it. If you're at work, you can't cook it because you're at work. So again, those 4 things: part, tool, skill, and time. If you're changing the alternator in your car, you need the alternator. That's the part. You need the tools, the wrench to take the old alternator off. You need to know how to take the alternator out. That's the skill. You need to have time to take the alternator off. So as you can see through those painful examples, sex, what the 4 parts to the fixing or having sex, 4 parts to changing the alternator in the car, 4 parts to cooking steak or dinner. Let's talk about the violence. So a lot of times people would challenge me, "Sai, you've been doing this 26 years and the violence still going on." Well, for those who know me well, know that my number one thing, even though I say our mission is stopping the violence, our number one thing is to establish the system and the structure that will stop the violence over a period of time. But the most important thing is to get our system up and running. And that's what I spend every second, every day working on, the system. We've got the structure already. And I'm going to go back into my Navy days to paint a picture for you about the structure and why the structure matters. We know this American society was created with the Europeans, the Africans, and the natives. Only the Europeans won. The natives and the Africans lost, and therefore we had slavery. We had people put in reservation camps. So the Europeans were able to flourish and grow, and that's why you see this gap right now is because of the head start that they got. Having said that, everything that you see is structured based on the white system, the European system and model. So when black people fight to change the system, I personally say, why don't we build a system that works for us, and a structure that works for us, instead of always trying to change what wasn't built for you, what wasn't designed for you. You can build a fight. You can do both, but too many of us want to fight, and you can't stay in a constant state in a fight, a constant state of fight, because you get tired, you get weary, you get hopeless, you get depressed. So we need balance, and so we need to be building. It's hard to build when you are in certain environments in our inner cities. And so here's what we have. We've built the structure that's designed for our edification, for our upliftment, the structure. The second thing is we've established the system. And so now the only thing left is to finance it. And the beauty with this brother who I'd never met before putting up this $5,000, it's over. It's over now. Victory is right at our doorsteps, and you're gonna hear me talking a different way now, because we're in February now. I'll be back up north at end of April, so we have 3 months of this funding. So that's gonna get us right to when I come up there, and when I get up there, I know our 35 black business owners are gonna put forth that money to get the second 5,000. The Gary 35 black businesses is gonna put up the next 5,000 for the next one. So we're about to go from $5,000 increments, and the goal is to get 20 of those. So now we at the $100,000. We go from the $100,000 to the $1 million. We go from the $1 million to the 12 million, and voila. Now, for those who don't know, it's 20 zip codes in Chicago. So $1 million is just $50,000 for all 20 zip codes. So a million isn't nowhere near where we're trying to go. We want to get to $600,000 for all 20 zip codes. That's $12 million. So that's where we on our way to. But it starts with the $5,000. If we can't make getting to $5,000 easy, we're not going to get to the 100 grand. We're not going to get to the million. Therefore, we won't get to the 12 million. So anyway, going back to structure and going back to system. So at the end of the day, when you look at all the things happening to black people, isolation, starvation, exploitation, those are the three things happening to us, whether we like it or not. All right. Then you have the internal damage, the hurt, abuse, and bitterness. That's what we're doing internally to ourselves. So what's the way out of this? How we go fix this? We go fix it by creating predictability and creating guaranteed audiences. This is what most people are after. When I hear artists talk about, I want to be a star, I want to be a rap star, a singing star, I want to be a sports star, what do they want? They want to have a guaranteed audience that's going to pay for whatever their talent is. That's what they after. When you want to be a star, you want to make money, you want a guaranteed audience. But guess what? With the structure we've built, you're going to have a guaranteed audience. Like, this is the beauty of what's already been established. It's done. It's done already. We got to finance it. So I'm always say that the structure is done. The system is built. We got to finance it. And you're going to come back to that. So predictability. If you at work, you predict that you got a home to go home to. You don't think you're going to be at work and don't have nowhere to go. When you got to use the restroom, you're going to predict you're going to find a restroom to use. The point is, certain things we expect, but it really is prediction. It's really about predictability, and predictability gives you a sense of security, a sense of comfort. The opposite is when you have anxiety. It's the unpredictability, not knowing, oh, I don't know my next meal coming from. You don't feel good about that. Oh, the unpredictability. I'm walking outside is dangerous. I don't know what's going to pop out of them trees. Unpredictability. So when I say we're done, we're there. We've built both predictability and we built guaranteed audiences. And once we finance it, you guys, life is going to change for each of us and here and in the continent. So let me dive into what that looks like. So the first thing is structure. Again, this country was founded and built on isolation, putting the Indians and the natives into reservations. That's isolation. Putting blacks in segregated parts in the north and in the south. All right. That's how this nation was founded. So everyone that loved this nation, it was founded on that principle of isolation. We already know starvation is a tool of those who have the resources. Starvation took place. So the exploitation, having people work for free is exploitation on steroids. So just know that's what the foundation, that's the anchor of this nation right here. The good part where we are now as a people is we are smart enough, we have technology now, we don't have to continue down this path of a structure that wasn't built with our best interests at heart. So here's the new structure, and it goes into predictability and guaranteed audiences. The best way I can describe it is every single person, we've organized a system and a structure to make sure that they have LOS, layers of support. Every one person. So for instance, all kindergartners are linked to daycares. All eighth graders are linked to lawyers, all and barbers. All fourth graders are linked to beauticians. All car wash owners are linked to fifth graders. Nurses are linked to fifth graders. Why? Why? Because what we needed to do was to create a guaranteed audience on who's going to be there to support who's going to be layers of support to who. So now we know fifth graders got car wash owners and nurses ready to support them. That would give that parent of a fifth grader predictability because they know who they can go to, and give that parent guaranteed audiences if they need something. So that's one section of the new structure we have. We've taken every one of our zip codes in Black Chicago and linked it to a different US city. Why do we do that? So whatever we do in Chicago, it can manifest across 20 cities. Whatever happened in 20 US cities can manifest in Chicago. We structurally set things up so that it's tied together. When I was in the Navy, one of the things we learned being on the ship was you must tie everything down. Something as simple as a battery pack sitting on top of the some high place on the ship can kill you when that ship lifts. When the ship start moving, it can slide off and hit you in the head, knock you unconscious. So everything must be tied down and secure. When I look at what we've done in our efforts to make life better in Black America, is we've done actions over here for safety, actions over here for senior citizens, actions over here for voter rights, actions over here for youth development, so we've done responses to needs, which is commendable. What we didn't have was what the Navy teaches us when we first get on the ship, which is that you must tie everything down. It must be secured. And so, who was going to secure all these important issues in our community: education, safety, senior citizens, youth? Who was going to tie that down into a way of keeping it all from being all over the place? And I call it DMOT, doing my own thing. Who was going to do that? The politicians can't do it because they got a self-interest. The youth organization can't do it because what about competing youth organizations? The lawyer group can't do it because everyone isn't a lawyer. So who was going to be able to tie all these things down that's doing wonderful stuff? And for me, it goes back to block by block, the zip codes. Everyone lives in a zip code in this country. So if we use the zip codes as a something to tie everything down, then we link everything to the zip codes. Now we have a foundation that is bigger than one organization. And that's what's beautiful about the structure. Also, the structure is set up where we know is 64 industry businesses, and each one of them businesses not only being connected to a grade, is connected to other businesses. So for instance, you have travel agencies, restaurants, you have beauticians, you have I said travel agents. It's about 9 of them, all linked together, so that no matter what, they would sustain each other by financial support to each other. Why do that? Again, structure. By tying them together, we create a guaranteed audience to where you have support. A perfect example on what that looks like. I was in Chicago yesterday, 2 days ago, and someone who runs a candy store said, "Si, I'm trying to sell these to the public, more people." And I said, "Well, guess what? Because you are structurally linked to these other businesses, that's who we're going to go to ask to support you." He said, "All right, that's cool. I like that." Again, if we ask everybody, then we burn out everybody. By having a guaranteed audience, we don't burn everybody out because now we get to tap into them. It's reciprocal because them ones that we ask will be when they have something to offer, we're going to say, "Hey, we took care of you, you take care of us." So we got sustainability built into the structure. Again, it's done already, you guys. It's done. So that's a beautiful thing. System, system. Just like your exhaust system in your car, your ignition system in your car, all these things are one component that relies on the next component to do its job. It's all under one whole. Similar to the criminal justice system, you got the police officer that arrests you, the judge that listens to your case, the correction officer that holds you in jail, and the parole officer that comes and see you when you're released from jail. All criminal justice system. So for us, what is our system that keeps us united as a whole? And that system is the 7 daily living habits. Real simple. Sunday, family day. Monday, safety day. Tuesday, education day. Wednesday, economic day. Thursday, health day. Friday, senior day. Saturday, youth day. Now, the beauty with that, it repeats 52 times a year. So if you miss one week, you get it the next week, but it has predictability. You see that? So that's all I love them. So that's part of the system. The other part of the system is making sure that when we meet a person, we find out if you're a lawyer, all right, you could be one of three lawyers. You could be retired, meaning you're probably up in age. You could be in your prime, you adult, or you could be a person that aspires to become that, a youth that want to become a lawyer. Either way it go, we call that rate, retirees, adults, and youth for every profession. Every profession. What does that give us systematically? It tells us it tells every person what role they play. If you're a retiree, pass on your knowledge and network to the adult. If you're an adult, pass on your knowledge and network to the youth that want to become what you already are. Again, system. No leader to tell you that is built into the model we have, and it gives us guaranteed audiences and predictability. We can predict that that retired lawyer is going to probably die in the next 30 years. He becomes an ancestor lawyer now. And if we don't extract what we need out of that retired lawyer, we might lose it if he transitioned before we extract that. So it gives us that predictability on what we can do because of the Ray, the retirees, adults, and youth. So anyway, I painted that picture good enough. Now let me go to this the book. All right. Now businesses are critically important to what we do. Our model for businesses is to go into every zip code and be able to put together a $5,000 economic system. All right, it's 20 neighborhoods in Chicago, so that means we should have $5,000 system in all 20 Chicago zip codes. If we do that, we have $100,000. We should be able to do that this year, 2021. So the way to get to the $5,000 in the most ideal fashion would be 419 people doing $12. That would be the most sustainable way. That means everyone is not being burnt out. They're doing $12. That takes time to get there. What's more doable is to get 35 businesses in that zip code to commit to 12 people's $12. You said it again. In one zip code, getting 35 businesses to commit to $144. That is $5,000. All right. 35 businesses committing to 144 is 5K. This one guy who don't know me already did. He committed to the 5K and put up part of that money already, who never met me. In Chicago, we got a lot of black businesses who know me and know the work we're doing. We just gotta help them feel comfortable releasing the money. He've already released part of the money, which is amazing. We have to get that, because when these 35 businesses release the money, now we got his 5,000, we got this 5,000. Now we begin moving fast. And I'm gonna talk about where the money is going and what that means to you. But just know the process of getting 35 businesses in every zip code on board. Someone said, I don't think it's 35 businesses. It's 35 businesses in every zip code. Picture it this way: 7 times 5 is 35. Are there 7 barbershops? Are there 7 beauty salons? Are there 7 funeral homes? Are there 7 restaurants? Are there 7 lounges? Those are the predominantly black businesses in every neighborhood. And 7 of those for all 5 of those topics is 35. That's not to mention the car washes. That's not to mention the daycares, the people in construction. It's all type of other businesses, but those 5 is like almost guaranteed in every black neighborhood. So we just got to win them over. We got to win over those, and then we got the 5,000. And as we do that, we're going to start to see monumental change because of the structure and because of the system. So the $5,000, what that means to you, what's going to be different in your neighborhood. Every person we meet, we have 7 people ready to be in your life when you're ready to add to whatever it is you're trying to do. That is a hallelujah moment. We have 7 people ready to be in your life to help you when you're ready. So they not stressing. It's whenever you're ready. Let me name those to you. The first, because you live in one of our zip codes. Now, if you're not in one of our zip codes, this is totally not applicable to you. This is for people in the target areas across America. The first one is your zip code leader. That's why we say we start with the zip code. We call them governors. That governor is going to be in your life to help add value however you think you need it. The second one is you have a, whatever you do, an industry support system. So if you're a barber, we got a citywide and a nationwide barbers network who can be there for you. Okay. The next one is based on whatever grade your industry is. If you're a barber, remember barbers are linked to 8th graders. So then you got 8th grade parents ready to support you and be there for you as well. Because why? You're being there for their child as a barber to the 8th graders. So you got that one. Then you got what we call the tour. Every month we on tour going into one neighborhood. So that means annually you have support because the tour comes to you. That's when everyone is coming to say, how can we help you? Then you have the suburban support. We link 20 primarily white suburbs to 20 inner cities. Why do that? Because there are whites who love the courage. They love what we're doing to be self-sufficient, and they want to help. And this gives us a chance to tap into suburban help. So that's a layer. Then you got 2 national supports. One, whatever zip code you live in is linked to a different U.S. city. That U.S. city, we're working on building up their confidence to send money to Chicago ultimately, which is the headquarters. So that's support to you. Then whatever you do for a living, that profession has a national city. So you can, if you're a nurse, nurses are nationally linked to Dallas, Texas. But if you live in Chicago's Chatham neighborhood, Chatham is linked to Philadelphia, you're getting support from Philadelphia and you get support as a nurse from Dallas. So that's 7 different support systems to every one person. No one's burning out. That's what the future looks like. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I wanted to paint that picture. Last piece I'm gonna put out there is what's gonna happen on the blocks. What's gonna happen in neighborhoods. Here's the best way I can describe it because of the structure again. We're gonna create information jobs. We're gonna create information jobs. The way I see it, we're gonna have 3-day work week, not 5-day work week. 3-day work weeks, and these 3-day work week will allow you to earn money to take care of your family. We're reducing the cost of living, and the way we're reducing the cost of living is by number one, dealing with housing. That is the biggest expense for anyone is housing, and the way we're building that housing model out is getting everyone into real estate as LLCs, so that way they're making money, but at the same time they can create rent to own situations. We can create deployment situations, and because we're linked to Africa, we're going to create situations where the foreign exchange is going to allow people to make money on the real estate side. That's one. But the other that we really are excited about with these mobile jobs is you can move around, mobile information jobs. I was just in Miami. That's when I brokered or closed the deal with the $5,000 brother that's helping us with the books in Miami. Came to Chicago, again, working, texting, connecting. These jobs that's mobile are going to allow our ex-offenders, our battered persons, people who've been left on the sideline to belong to a structure that's going to help them own their own housing, be able to rent and lease that housing out as they travel around this country working. And that's what's really exciting to me. Information, travel, and real estate is what the next 50 to 100 years look like from my vantage point for Black people. And that's going to allow us to live in a better state. We don't have to be in a constant state of fighting and battling, because we're going to be able to live instead of always having to battle. And we're going to live because of what we built. And that's a beautiful thing. So let me get back to each one of these cities. So all 20 cities have 20 different offices that need to be established. And so, for instance, Philadelphia is our missing persons national headquarters. We have to establish in Philadelphia 7 offices. These are going to be regional offices that have about 3 cities assigned inside each of these offices, so that every missing person in Chicago go through Philly, missing person in Detroit go through Philly, missing person in Atlanta go through Philly, because they're the national headquarters for all 20 of our cities, grouped into 7 different regions. So we're bringing 7 offices to Philadelphia just to manage our national missing persons administration. We got that for all 20 cities. Miami, for instance, Miami is going to have 7 offices with 3 cities in each office that's managing all things dealing with marketing. Everyone needs to brand themselves. So this is where Miami comes in at. And think about what that's going to do for Miami. It's going to create vibrancy. It's going to bring people to Miami that wouldn't have came if it wasn't for this structure and the system we've built. And look at what it does. It gives all the people in Miami an enroll to be able to go and travel and go other places as well. Cleveland, that's all of our doctors and dentists nationwide. We're going to open up 7 offices in Cleveland. There, those 7 offices are going to have 3 cities attached to it. That's all 20 of our cities. And they're going to do all things to keep Black doctors and dentists connected and dealing with rape. The retired doctors and dentists, the adult doctors and dentists, and the youth that want to become doctors and dentists. See how beautiful it is? It's all systematic. It's all structured. The only thing missing is your $12. If you're a business, your $144, which is 12 people's $12. Some of our people who can't afford the 144 at this moment, the key is to call up 11 of your friends and ask them to commit to the $12. It is the single only thing holding us back. So the last piece here, all 20 cities will have 7 offices so that they can manage whatever the industry we gave to them, which is going to create jobs, is going to get them connected nationally. So the last thing is how we use money. People say, well, what money is going to do? Remember, because of the structure and the system, the money is like the fuel that gets the car moving. A brand new car is good, smell good, feel good when you get in it, but it's not going nowhere. That's where we at now. With the with limited funding, we can only go limited places. As we get this 5,000 going in every zip code in every city, we get to that $12 million. Now we can go as far as we want to go. And so here's how the money is used and how it will continue to be used. HAT TM, HATTM. That's, we got that budgeted for $12 million. We know exactly how the money is going to go into HATTM, HAT TM. Housing. All right, housing. Housing is big. Why? Because everywhere we go, we need a place to lay our head. We need a safe space. And so that's why $700,000 is going to be spent on housing. We're going to buy $20,000, $30,000 houses in all 20 cities easily. LA, New York, we're not going to find houses that cheap. So we'll work that. I'm just giving you an overview. So $700,000 for housing. Just let that digest. Like, that's going to make sure that when you travel, you stand in a place that we control as a people. So that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that's one. We're going to put $4.8 million of this $12 million on awards. Why awards? Awards is big. You guys see pictures of children holding up money because when you're dealing with people who've been traumatized, it's important that they win. It's important that they see tangible economic incentives. And that's why the awards is our biggest budget item out of a $12 million budget. When we get there, that 4.8 million of that is for that awards and incentives. What that does on the block, it creates vibrancy because now you got children excited, wanting to win and compete. That's what we need in Black America. So that's it. Then we have H, housing, A is awards, T, travel. Travel is so big. Travel is so big. When you go places and meet new people and see things, it does something to you on the inside. When I was in the corporate world, I used to tell people the difference between growth and development is growth means that you learn more. You learn more. Development is when you take the next step. So here's a better way of looking at that. Growing is gaining new insight, right? Development is when you go to the next level. So picture a third grader learning all the third grade math. Okay. Now that's good. They're growing in third grade. But to get to fourth grade math, when now you're learning about the perimeter and all these other things with math, you got to master that third grade first so that you can get to that next level. You can't just jump up into development without growing. And so when you think about our community, how do you grow? I mean, how do you develop? New assignments. I can give you new assignments when you learn some other stuff as a prerequisite. Now you can handle that. New experiences. You ain't getting new experiences hanging in the neighborhood doing the same stuff. Then new people you get to meet. Every person you meet can take you to higher levels. That's why the network is so important. So new experiences, new networks, and then new assignments is how we're going to take our brothers and sisters who's off track now and get them on track by developing them. And this is one of the key reasons why travel is so important, because if I've been a loser in my local neighborhood all the time and everyone know I'm a loser, I begin to perform in loser fashion. When I go to a new place, I get to rebrand myself. I get to be something that other people would laugh at me because they saw me in my vulnerable state, in my growing state. Now I get to travel and be something else and be what I want to be. So that's why travel is so important. That's the benefit of these 20 cities. Is going to allow for widespread travel that's going to create our own manufactured economy. Then, so that's housing, awards, travel. Travel is $2.4 million. So that's a big deal. Then HAT, so that's the hat, the housing, 700,000, 4.8 thousand awards, 2.4 million, 4.8 million, I should have said 4.8 million for the awards, then 2.4 million for the travel. Then TM, the next T is training. Training is such a big deal because everything right now, this is a training video. What I'm giving you is training. If you write down this stuff, it's so that you can get it on the inside, then allow you to grow it, then ultimately develop. So training, we have $1.8 million budgeted for training. That's going to really allow us to make sure that part of what people are going to have is pay for sessions to travel to Atlanta for training, pay for sessions to travel to Mississippi, pay for trains to travel to New York, pay for trains to travel to these places where we got these 7 offices at. So that's going to create, again, a Black vibrancy that's going to be beautiful. Then, so that's HAT T. And then the M is for manpower, $2.6 million for manpower. So that $2.6 million for manpower is going to allow us to create real jobs, 3-day work week jobs, 2 days of training, 2 days off. That's the 7 days. And people are going to be earning money doing this massive type of revolutionary change work for our neighborhoods here and all the way in the continent of Africa. I know this was a lot, but I just had to come on here and let you guys know this brother with the African American news journals, our promo code is NBCU. So if you order in this book, you got to put in NBCU under the promo code. It'll give you a little discount, but more importantly, it's going to put that money into us. That money into us means your zip codes are going to be saturated with people that's going to link every person to the 7 people that's going to be layers of support in their life to help them in whatever way they see fit. Change is here, you guys, and I'm excited, and we're going to continue to press forward. Thanks for watching. Tell a person right now 312-405-8844. That's directly to me. 312 area code 405-8844. I love to talk to anyone and everyone. And that's what we're going to need in order to onboard every single black person in this country.